Welcome to the second part of the Chapter 6 review. I'm going to go over the odds. Number 1, it says, determine whether the relation is a function. And so we're looking for consistency once again. We really want it to be consistent, almost like a machine or a robot. So when we put in 1, it gives us -4, and that's good. We put in 3, it gave us 6, that's okay. We put in 5, it gave us 0. But right down here at 7, it doesn't act as a function, and I'll tell you why. Let's say this is a machine. You put in 7 and it gave you 6. You put in 7 again, it needs to give you 6 again, but this time it gave you something different. So we lost that consistency. So the fact that 7 went in and gave you a 6 the first time, and then you put 7 in again and it gave you 8, it is not consistent. It's not machine-like. This one is not a function. Let's take a look at number 3. Number 3 says find the value for y for the given value of x. So on number 3, we're going to take this -4 and we're going to plug it in right here for x. So we'll have y is equal to 2 times -4, and then we're going to minus 3. So order of operations tells us we have to do multiplication first. So 2 times -4 is going to be -8. And -8, take away 3 more, is going to be -11. So the answer for number 3 is y equals -11. Number 5, we're going to take 6, and this time we're going to plug that in for x. So we're going to have y is equal to 6 over 3 plus 5. 6 divided by 3 is going to be 2. And 2 plus 5 is going to be 7. And that's how you do 5. On number 7, it says graph y equals -5x. And just as a little review, we have slope-intercept form. And whatever comes before the x is called our m, or our slope. That tells us how steep the line is going to be. And what comes at the end is the y-intercept. Alright, now, if we look at this equation, we have a part that comes in front of the x. That tells me that my slope is going to be -5 over 1. But what's at the end? We're missing a y-intercept. So what we can assume is that that's 0. So this line is going to cross right through the origin, and it's got -5 slope, which means we're going to go down 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 over 1. Or the opposite of down 5, right 1 is going to be up 5, left 1. And that's how you would graph number 7. Number 9 says use the graph or table to write a linear function that relates y to x. So we're looking at slope-intercept again. We need to find m. We need to find how steep the line is. Let's do that now. If I look from this point to this point, my rise over run, I'm going up 1 over 1, 2, 3. So my slope for this graph is 1/3. Then the only other thing that I need is the y-intercept. If I look at the graph, where does this one cross? Where does that line cross the y-axis? Well, it crosses at +3. So the y-intercept, or the b, is 3. So the equation is going to be y equals 1/3 x plus 3. And that's how we do 9. Question number 11 is asking us, does the table represent a linear or nonlinear function? And to tell if something is linear or nonlinear, we have consistency with our linear. So we have to have consistency. So if we look at what x is doing, it's going 3 to 6 is +3, +3, +3. So we have consistency with the x. The y is going +9, +9, +9. So because we have consistency with the x and the y, This is linear. And I guess another way to describe this is that if it's consistent, your change in y over your change in x is going to be the same every time you plug along. And that means that you would make a consistent line. If it's changing from time to time, like what happened in 12, your line may go like this. And that helps us determine linear versus nonlinear. So before I write out this description of this first company A, I'm gonna point out a couple of things. The first thing is sales start pretty low on company A. We have consistent lines, right? We have consistent lines. We have peaks, we have valleys, but everything in graph A is consistent, right? When we go to company B, you can see that there's always curves going on, right? We still have peaks and we still have valleys, but these are curves. So let me write out my description for each of these. So here are my two descriptions. Company A starts low, has a constant positive line, comes to a peak, then for a small time has a negative constant line. Finally, the line turns back positive for the rest of the time. Company B starts midway up, has a positive curve to a peak, then has a negative curve down to a valley, curves back to the previous height, then comes down to where it started. Part B says make 3 comparisons from the graph. Well, 3 comparisons that I would put in, maybe the first one is kind of the obvious one. Company A has lines. Company B has curves. So there's my first comparison. Another comparison may be something like Company A has increasing sales. Company A has increasing sales, where Company B is kind of staying the same. And what I mean by that is if you look at Company A, where it started and where it finished is about the same. The last one that I want to put in is that both companies lost sales during the time. And so what I'm talking about is that in both graphs we had some part where we had losing going on, right? Where sales were declining. And both companies had those. So we could use that as a comparison. Let's go to the last questions. Question number 15. The price of a stock steadily increases at a constant rate for several months before the stock market crashes. The price then quickly decreases at a constant rate. So, this is going to be time. And this is going to be the value of the stock. Maybe this could be something like related to COVID. We have a stock that's steadily increasing, and then for some reason the stock market crashes, and so the crash happens right here on our timeline. At the sign of the crash, it quickly decreases at a constant rate. And that's how we would graph number 15. On the test today, we'll break it up into a couple of sections, so we're not doing the test all at once. Make sure that you take your time, submit a photo so that I can grade it, take a picture, and submit it into Classroom. Good luck, everybody.